Mambo.
I think the book said the car will do about 11.2 seconds 0 to 100. The Alfa 146, its predecessor was the Alfa 33. This one wasn't received very well, and this specific model, the 146 with a boxer motor, only lasted for 2 years. And it has quite a distinct shape. The vehicle after this was very well received and was in production for a very long time was the Alfa 147, which is a T-Spark motor. As you can see, it still has the original 1.6 boxer motor that only has 8 valves, and it has 77 kilowatts. It's pretty nice sounding as well. Fan, which works. And then it does have a circulation button. The air vent of the car is not here where it usually is, it's travelling between here. And I'm guessing that's to save space. So the air vent's in the door. Indicator to tell you which doors are open and when they are open. The boot is quite spacious as well. So you can either open it manually and be activated from inside by pushing this button right here. There's only enough space for a space saver tyre really. A full size tyre can be fit. Boy racer style, responsible person style. The alarm sensor, it's the main light, and then there's also a small little reading light. Electric windows. It does have fully automatic front electric windows. However, the back windows you still have to wind. When you open it, I really like this, is that it's got these special little reflectors over here, which is fantastic. I'm not so sure whether this really was a good idea, but basically it's got an airbag for the driver, but for the passenger there's no airbag, and they say that they've created this extra space here for safety. I can say I think they ran out of money to put an airbag in. They thought they'll just create more distance between the driver and the engine, and that should, you know, hopefully if the seatbelt holds, then the passenger will be safe. It's the fuel cap. When you open it, it first needs to be unlocked before you can unwind it, which is a bit annoying sometimes, especially when you're in a hurry. When I put 91 fuel into this car, it literally would not start. I had to empty it, put 95 in, which was fine, and then once I tried 98 into it, it really was doing some low flying. I can't believe that something like this would be parked in a lake. However, how the hell has this got here? Why is that rusting? And the same over there. The paint job isn't much better either, so follow the line, sun, line, peel, and it's the same on the other side. And this should be black. I don't know why it's white. Overall, I'd say the ride of this vehicle is not bad. The only problem it does have is all the reviews say it's really good in handling, and it is, I agree, in dry weather. In wet weather, not so. This car is what is known as a drifter. I'm not talking about a controlled drift. I'm talking about when you put your foot down on the gas pedal and it's wet, the car basically just shifts sideways, and when there's a car next to you, chance for something to go wrong. You have to press the alarm button first. Demobilizes the car as well. When you switch the car on, the headlights go on automatically, so there's no chance of you ever leaving your lights on basically, because as soon as you pull this out, lights go off immediately. Old style radio, the speakers are rubbish. Doesn't take much to make them distort. You would think that being an Alfa they would have put something better in here. Clutch gets stuck. Air pops in. Clutch gets stuck halfway, which I believe, or I read up to be, is the master cylinder on the clutch, which is broken. Stuck. Rev. Okay, now it's in. We know that Alfas aren't really long distance traveling cars. They are city cars because, for example, it doesn't have an aircon. And that's fine. It doesn't need an aircon because that is just one more thing that would go wrong if it did have one. So, it is a city car, essentially. However, you say that, but there are no cup holders. I can't even tell you how many times or how much coffee is spilt in this car from me already. It's insane. It's supposed to be a city car, it's supposed to have cup holders. The book says that it should be using 8.2 However, my experience is very different, and I know I do have a heavy foot, but I think it's probably more like 14, 15, even 16. This arse steps out all the time. It's almost like a bloody rear-wheel drive, and it's bad at handling. The understeer on this thing is bloody phenomenal.